Good morning, participants. We all know that entering the corporate sector is a very big struggle, and progressing in it is yet another struggle. So, to share her valuable insights with us, we have CS Nishvitha. She is currently an Associate Director, Legal and CS at ANSR. Nishvitha, a very warm welcome to you.
You so much, Malvika. Thank you.
It is always a pleasure to have you, and you share such great insights with us, which really help our participants shift their perspective. So, before we begin, I want to ask you, how did law come about, and if you can share your career trajectory.
Okay, see, law was always by choice for me. I mean, I think I was in third standard. I decided I should pursue law. My parents never wanted me. My father was a practicing lawyer. My mom was a nurse, but they never thought I will get into the same domain. They wanted me to become a doctor or an engineer. But I don't know, I was so firm on my decision. And for people who see me talking so loud and vocal today, there was a time in my life during my entire school days and college days. I was a very timid person. I was good in my academics. I would always be a class leader, but I could never control the crowd. I was not a vocal person. I was very shy, stage fear. I would never take up a mic and speak. This was how I was as a child. And many, when I took up a law degree, many told only one thing, like, how can you even overcome that? Because you're good in academics, you'll complete your degree. That's not a big thing. But the profession demands a lot from you. How are you even going to cope with it? I think that was where I challenged myself during college days. Two things I'm always grateful. One is my principal in PU College, Mount Carmel, Bangalore, who instilled a lot of confidence in me. And she used to always say, you should conquer your fear. If stage fear is your thing, you should go always on stage and start speaking. People may laugh at you, it's okay. But if you're better than the previous version, that's more than enough. So she gave me a lot of opportunity to do MC in almost every program. And Kannada being my mother tongue, so most of the Kannada related stuff she used to give it to me. Second was Mrs. Porkodi, who recently passed away, the principal of Bishop Curtin Law College. She was a revolutionary person in my life who instilled confidence. She gave a lot of opportunity for me to do extracurricular and co-curricular activities, and I was very keen to pick up the opportunity right from my college days. But after all these things happened, I took up CS. As many of them think, okay, LLB and CS is a very good combination. I did that. But my career growth, if you actually see on LinkedIn, you would have seen I started my journey with Kenamital, which is a factory setup where I was helping with listed company compliance. Then I moved to Prestige, which was real estate. Again, a lot of CS related work, and CS was the main core. Legal was on the secondary aspect of it. One fine day, I felt, okay, CS is not my cup of tea. I was a qualified CS. People struggle, even I struggle to complete CS. But there's always one point in your life. I think you should just listen to your instincts and your inner calling. Always don't stick yourself just because I completed this degree, I should stick to the same profession. After Prestige 2016, when in the month of October, I decided I cannot do this listed company work anymore. CS is not my cup of tea. When I went back and said this decision at home, they were like, then why did you even study CS? You struggled a lot, good 5 years to complete your CS, but why are you even giving up now? I said, I'm not happy. As simple as that. If your work is not keeping you happy, then you shouldn't be doing it. As simple as that. Then I moved to Lowe's, where my core, I was actually hired again as a CS, but I was very clear in my interview. I am not doing any CS work. I want to explore myself on the legal domain. Trust me, someone 2013 law pass out, until 2016, zero legal work I did. I didn't even had drafted an addendum, amendment, NDA, the simplest of templates. 2016 has become a complete learning curve for me at Lowe's, as it was a US-based entity, a startup in India. That learning chunk was extremely difficult for me because a lot of expectation. By then I had good 4 years of corporate experience, but as a lawyer, it's a fresher experience for me. I took a challenge that I should learn. I joined in 2017 to Law Seeker contract drafting course. I learned. So something which second thing I want to share with the people is learning should be a continuous process. Don't think you have a degree and that is sufficient. But if you really master the skill, your certification courses, talking to right set of people, having mentorship is important. Then I joined Merck's. There also, again, it was a core of legal. Now in ANSR. So if you see the career path, like I myself have changed my career so many times, full-fledged CS to I became a lawyer, then I took a dual role of law and CS. Even at the moment, then finally in 2020, I decided HR should be my domain. So I did a course from XLRI on labor law compliances. Then now at the Forte, I have my CS, legal and HR domain. I'm planning to have my data privacy very soon, maybe end of the year or the beginning of next year, because my ultimate goal is to become a general counsel, for which in corporate, having a knowledge of multiple laws and having a strategic thinking is very important. So if you want to take a career diversion or you want to change the vertical, it's your life. You just have to take that call and do it. But there will be circumstances where you really feel you should give up. There were situations and laws I felt that shit, I was so good in CS work. Why the hell am I even doing legal and getting scoldings every time? But only thing, the day when I took a decision was something, a reminder for me. Like I was not happy. So that's how it has been in the career path.
Well, there's so much to learn from your journey, and it takes a lot of courage to take the decisions that you took. And really looking forward to today's section. So let's get started.
So anyone working in corporate, or are you a student, advocate? Who are you? Knowing the participants make a lot of difference. Could you please type it in the chat box? Okay, Sonali is willing to join. So Sonali, at the moment, are you a student or an advocate? LLM student and advocate, okay. You're willing to join corporate, working with unorganized sector as a semi-qualified CA, pursuing LLB. Good. And all the best for your CA. Fine. So when you talk about corporate, what are the couple of things that is top of your mind? Do you feel getting employment in corporate is difficult? Sustaining in corporate, is it difficult, or is it much easier when you compare to litigation? What do you think? Is it easy to get job in corporate? Pooja says not easy. Okay. Yeah, I completely agree, Sonal. Litigation doesn't pay well. I know that. Yeah, in the initial stage, I think you just have to burn the midnight oil for good 10 years or 7 years in litigation. Fine. So today I'm going to share a couple of my own practical experiences which helped me, and something which I've seen from different set of people who are growing in their corporate career and which I would wish to implement. So today there are four topics that I should cover. One is, what is a quality to be a good lawyer or an in-house counsel? Because we don't refer as a corporate lawyer, we refer as in-house counsel. Next question to most of you is, are you really ready to become an in-house counsel? I would give few tips here. And by the end of the session, this question I would ask you to pose for yourself, introspect for yourself, and check whether you can be really an in-house counsel at the moment. If not, the next one, I would share a couple of tips to achieve that goal. And whichever you feel is practical, kindly implement the same. And small things in life do matter, irrespective of any profession. It matters a lot. And especially in a domain where we have a lot of competitors and our profession is having a very high regard in this country, it's important to consider the minute aspects as well in your career path. Next. There are 5 major aspects that an in-house counsel must focus on. One is your communication skill, which is your oral communication, and another is your written communication skill. How well can you conduct the research, the leadership quality, and the care that you need to have towards your business stakeholders or clients. When I talk about the care, I'm not talking about the empathy. But if there is anyone who's approached you for a genuine legal advice or to vet a contract or any sort of an advisory in a HR or any matter for that, you should understand the criticality of the matter and ensure a very good turnaround time. Understanding what is their exact concern, conducting a root cause analysis, and advising should be your integral part of your job. Next, oral communication. If you are supposed to talk to in a college session, okay, maybe you're asked to do a vote of thanks in your college farewell. What are the things that you will be mindful of? Can you please post it in the chat box? What would you think of? You need to have focus on any sort of an oral communication. You are asked to do the vote of thanks in your college farewell. So how do you prepare yourself for it? How will you go ahead and prepare? Can I get some response? Okay, thank you, teachers and admin. Okay, then that's Viber's response. Other than Viber, anyone else? Please type it in the chat box. Lauren, please type it in the chat box. You would like to congratulate fellow students for bright future. Okay. More than sentences, how would this entire process of preparation of vote of thanks would be? Next slide. So anytime you have to set for a communication, oral or written, you need to prepare ahead of time. How many of you have made a last minute preparation and when you go on a stage, you're completely blank? Have you ever had this experience? Maybe an extempo you are asked to speak, that is still fine. But do you remember during school days, we used to have this pick and speak? Did you ever put an effort to prepare ahead of time, or did you take it as a casual approach? I'm good orator, I can just go and speak. This is a topic which I'm already aware of. It's just a cakewalk, I can go and speak. How many of you have taken it for granted? How many of you have taken it for granted? Yes, no, maybe, or never had such experience before. Anytime you have to have a communication, it's important for you to prepare ahead of time. Because the first mistake that we commit is we take a communication for granted. I know my managing director, I can just casually go and talk to him about the problem in the organization. There is a new law that has been implemented. I can just have a conversation over it in a cup of coffee. I'll just go and speak to him. There's a lot of difference between your formal and an informal communication. I can go and talk to Malvika in a very informal way when she calls me for a session. But during the session, I should maintain my etiquettes and a decorum when I speak. That's where you need to be very mindful of the conversation and the context of it. The two aspects. Whenever you think of the context, it may be just a formal and an informal context. Next, when you're talking about the conversation, it's important to prepare ahead of time. As a lawyer, if I just keep randomly talking about a topic, will I be appreciated and welcomed among a group of intellectuals? Will I be welcome and entertained? I will not. People will just take me for granted. Instead, if I'm very clear in my mind and prepare well, saying this is the 5 minutes conversation I'm going to have with my team members. 1, 2, 3 are the mistakes that's happened in the previous week. This is my recommendations. I'll hear from them. Which is the best solution? Then collectively, we will go ahead and implement the same. Which is a better structure, the first one or the second one? Obviously, the second one is the better one. Therefore, for that, you need to prepare ahead of time and then go ahead and have a conversation. How many of you feel you're an active listener? Have you ever noticed most of our personal relationships, even our professional relationships, we would be fighting on a same topic, but with different perspectives? You would have said something to your parent and they would have said something else to you. The topic is the same, but the way you understood, the way it was communicated was absolutely different. Have you experienced it, which will finally land up in any sort of a rift or a fight? Do you agree with me? Very common, right? Misunderstandings are quite common even in the professional setup. Therefore, as a lawyer, it is not how much we speak, it's how well we listen. Listening, articulation, and we speak. That is the root of your successful oral communication or written communication. Until and unless you listen correctly, compose your thoughts, later speak or write, that makes a difference. But if you are under an assumption that you know everything, you miss on the points that your client would share with you, or maybe your manager is sharing with you, who will face the trouble later? You may invest. Maybe your manager will tell you, prepare a presentation on the upcoming labor code. You did not hear labor code. You will think it is an existing labor law. He wants a presentation because labor code, we don't know when is it going to be implemented. And you prepare a very good presentation. You spend good 2 days. You did all the research. It's not just the content. You gave a lot of good images and everything, and then you present before him. Will it be even accepted? Will your manager appreciate it? Will they do that? Definitely not. Because what was communicated to you was labor code. What you prepared was labor law. It may be just one word difference. but the entire representation of yourself varies. Therefore, as a lawyer or even in your personal friend, please be an active listener. I know it is very difficult to listen. It's important to set your boundaries as need be. It's important to learn to say no whenever time demands. But whatever is the most integral part of a conversation, like even a meeting, we say that knowing the main facts, the reason to conduct the meeting, the action points are very important. That's what you carve out in your minutes of the meeting. So that's important to capture whenever you are having a further conversation. Definitely an active listener will be a very good, efficient communicator. Always prepare your communication based on your audience. I'll discuss this. I have a separate slide. So prepare for your audience is a separate slide. I'll discuss in detail. Tone of your voice. Let me give you a scenario. When I say, good morning, everyone. How are you all doing? Today, let's learn how to climb corporate ladder versus I say, okay, hi, good morning. How are you? Let's begin the session today. What I was having the same content. What was so different in both? What was the difference in my first tone and the second tone? My content is still the same. What was the difference? The energy and the zeal. Okay, thanks for sharing this vibe up. Anyone else? Voice modulation. Okay. So what happens when you are sharing any sort of a communication? How expressive are you in your communication matters a different. So today you go ahead and have a conversation with anyone. A person who has a lot of energy will take the stage. Therefore, your voice modulation is something which you need to work on. You cannot have the same tempo when you speak. You need to understand where your pitch has to go high, where it should be same, and where it should reduce. Something which I follow in the beginning of the session, always I ensure when I begin anything, I always ensure with the high pitch. Later, I maintain the same decorum. During exercise or when I ask the questions, I keep it a bit high again, slightly higher. Then towards the conclusion, I maintain the same mundane voice. I don't make any voice modulations. There would be different reasons as well, because at the fag end, I may be exhausted, my tone strains. Second, listening is a very difficult task on the other end, especially if you are in a virtual context like how we are conducting. We do not know what the other side the person is doing. That is why we repeatedly ask people to switch on the video and participate in the chat box, so that when you are participating, your mind is always alert. But if you are just listening, your mind dips. That's a natural human tendency. And when you've already decided to spend good 30 minutes or 90 minutes, how much ever, in a particular session, then I would always appreciate for you to make the effective utilization of that time. Okay. Next, check on your body language when you're sitting, how your posture is going to be. When you stand and have a communication with another person, how your posture must be. How are you going to stand? The attire that you're going to wear. Please be mindful of the culture, the occasion. All of those things matter a lot. And a very simple thing is, when anytime you want to wear something which you are comfortable. You need not fit into the crowd, but as long as you're comfortable and you can carry yourself, that's the good thing. And automatically, if your attire is complementing you and you're comfortable, your posture will always show confidence. If you're going to wear a dress, maybe you're someone who always only wear Indian attire, but suddenly you switch to a Western attire and you cannot carry yourself, then your confidence automatically dips. And that will be reflected easily on each of your body posture. So please be mindful of that. And something which I want to share here, because most of you are willing to join corporate, please dress modestly in most of your interviews that you attend. Second, please don't go on a very loud makeup. If it is for guys, please wear a shirt. Don't wear a t-shirt for your meetings. For women, it's your comfortable. You can wear a salwar or western attire or anything, but please dress modesty. You should carry yourself really well. And whenever you're wearing a belt, please ensure that there's no cracks or in the belt. Please tuck it up really properly. Your shoes need to be neatly polished. Don't use very dark color nail paints when you speak in a session or in any sort of your interview, because the people's attention should be on you. The moment you have a lot of hand gestures and your nail colors are dark, that will drive the attention of the people. Okay, so please avoid that. It's absolutely fine. You can wear any color. Color is not a concern here. It's how well you dress up is what I'm talking about. Please be in formal attire instead of being in casual whenever you're going for an interview or any sort of your discussion with the clients, because your first impression makes a lot of difference. No heavy jewelries, please. Handbags also, please carry a small handbag. And the worst part which I see is maybe you're tensed, and we will always observe a candidate the way they're sitting in the meeting room or the way they stand up and greet, all of these things. So please, when the interviewer come over, please stand up and shake your hand and tell good morning or greet them, introduce yourself. Okay, is it the right way to say myself Nishvitha or I am Nishvitha, which is the correct way to say when you're introducing yourself? Is it I am Nishvitha or myself Nishvitha? Okay, apart from Sonali, rest of you. Okay, so it's I am. So please use this. I've heard so many of them saying myself Nishvitha or myself so and so. Please avoid that. And it's important to say or ask question or to keep it interactive. I've seen people in the meeting room, especially in corporate, they just come, they do not share any of their perspective. Okay, because in corporate today, with a lot of your Western culture, we believe in open mind. That is nothing but every individual in the open door policy can share their perspective as long as it is not impacting another person's feelings or the business. So if there is a conversation that is happening, maybe I'm thinking of providing a bonus of just 50%, where I had promised 100% bonus, but I'm declaring only 50% bonus this time. What would be the first thought as a lawyer that should come to your mind? Which legislation should come to your mind? I'm planning to declare only 50% bonus, but my organization had promised its employees to give 100% bonus. So as a lawyer, will you just stay mum and say that, okay, the managing director has decided, let them go ahead and declare, I'm going to get my salary, that's more than enough? Or would you pitch in and talk? Because this is a collaborative meeting where all the heads of different departments are going to be there and you're the head of legal. What do you do? Okay, Vaibhav says it's contract law. Apart from that, I've specifically said it's bonus is what you're talking about. So you need to understand from the Payment of Bonus Act perspective, minimum of 8.33% bonus need to be provided. When they say 50%, is it above the statutory limit? Because if it is above the statutory limit, it's absolutely fine. But if it dips below the statutory limit, then you may have to face the repercussions when you file the form with the regulator. This is the compliance requirement under the labor law. Second one, in the appointment letter, did you mention to your employees every year, irrespective of the company profit, you will be entitled to 100% bonus? Or have you said that the company has a discretion to declare the bonus based on the profit and your performance? Because what happens in the first case, when you say that irrespective of company's profit, you are entitled to get 100% bonus, what happens? And now I've decided to give only 50%. What happens? Will that hold good? Can an employee go and contest against it? Can they? They can, because it's a clear violation of your contract. It's a breach of contract. Therefore, you should check the wordings of it. So when a manager is decided to go ahead and declare it, you are always the watchdog of the organization. You need to pitch in and say, there are two things that I would like to look at. One is the compliance from the labor laws. Another is the employment agreement. I will review this and come back to you. And if you have any more questions, ask those questions and go back with an appropriate timeline so that they can take their final decision. This is how you make your mark in corporate. It's not just in litigation, we always think that you have to go argue so many cases, then gradually your name comes up, right? Same thing even in corporate. Every conversation, every turnaround time, every meeting is where you have to make your mark. I'm not saying randomly go ahead and speak. Whenever there is a need for you to speak as a lawyer, and when you feel this is important for me to highlight and bring everyone on the same page, you need to take that initiative and take it ahead. For which you need to be an active listener. Without listening, you can't ask questions. Your body language has to be appropriate, because if a person is dressed well, presents himself well, automatically the other side person will gain an attention. Have you experienced, like you would have seen, a person who's shabbily dressed versus a presenter who is well dressed? The first instinct, doesn't it feel that the person who is well dressed may have a better content, isn't that the first thing that comes to your mind? Yes or no? Will it or no? It will, right? That's a human tendency. The content is only when they start speaking, but how well you present yourself is important. So every day, take out some time to groom yourself well and be comfortable. Next, my suggestion would be, this is how I improved in my life. Try to attend a lot of personality development sessions. Today in YouTube, you have a lot of free sessions. Like I personally follow Chit Chat with Chetna, where she gives a lot of personality development tips. She gives regarding the vocabulary, all of those things. I really like it. And there are a lot of other YouTubers who make really good content. One or two contents, see if you feel comfortable, and only then proceed further. So spend at least good 30 minutes every week and implement that in your day-to-day affair. Like instead of saying, I was talking to my friend, next time when you talk or to a person, say that I was having a conversation with my friend. So this is how you improve yourself. It's not just listening, you have to implement it in your day-to-day activities. And how well you speak makes a lot of difference. It's not just the content. The words that you use is very much important. Mirror exercise is something which was revolutionary in my life. I don't know how many of you know FM 93.5. There was an RJ called as RJ Rashmi. At the moment, she's not working. Say, 6, 7 years ago, she was a very famous RJ. And once I attended her a personality development session in the CS chapter during my EDP sessions. And she taught me an exercise called as mirror exercise. Because in the soft skill training, as I told you, I was not a great orator. And she gave an open feedback saying, Nishvitha, your content is very good, but you could not make an eye-to-eye contact with the participants. You could not have a proper articulation of thought. So try mirror exercise. Okay, how many of you know Rajnikant? How many of you know Rajnikant? Who is he? None of you know?
All of us know him.
Yeah, but I don't understand the reason for the silence. Okay, so Rajnikant is one person in one room. Okay, not he in his entire house. There's one room. There are only mirrors around him. He always practices yoga and meditation in the evening without any makeup. He sees himself. One is just for him to be humble and say that whatever fame I have today, but my real color is dark. This is my reality. And that is the reason people appreciate him for his simplicity. But if you are aware of the journey of Rajnikant, he was not selected in the first place. He tried really hard to get an opportunity to act in movies. People always said, you're very dark. No one even felt like they have to work. And even today, he's not known as a performer. He's known more for his style and his simplicity in life. So every time he would go for an audition and come back, he was very disheartened. So there was one mirror that he had, a very small one, and he used to look at the mirror and he used to rehearse it. Okay, today audition scene was so and so. I performed, but no one gave me a feedback. Okay, let me improvise. So he started doing different styles for the same dialogue. And once, coincidentally, when he was doing this in his room, Balchandar, who is the director, noticed it and said, okay, come over and you act. And that time when he performed, the very same scene where in the audition he failed, he could perform like 10 times better. Why do you think so? Why do you think in the audition which he failed, but after rehearsing before a mirror and later he could perform nearly 10 times better? What would be the simple trick there? What happens when you stand in front of a mirror? That's because of the practice. And every time when you practice, you will observe your own facial expression. You will hear your own voice because you don't have any distractions that moment. You will know which suits you better, which expression suits you better. Therefore, mirror exercise is something which has helped me. Even till date, when I wake up or even if I have to have any session, I stand in front of a mirror. I don't practice the entire thing, but initially I used to do that. I would stand in front of a mirror and practice my entire PPT in my early days of my career, but today I don't do that. But I still ensure to have a pep talk with myself for 5 minutes before I start any session. I always, even till date, I have fear. Even till date, I feel very different because every time it's a different crowd, right? This PPT I would have done like so many times in different colleges by now. But for me, this set of participants are absolutely new. So it's important to understand, am I really calm? Am I even in a position to talk? How am I looking? My practice, the words, that makes a huge difference and creates an impact on the other side party. Therefore, my sincere advice to you is next time, if you have to go and speak to someone, especially on a stage or in a forum or even in a meeting room, if you're going to be a presenter, try to have at least 5 minutes of pep talk with your own self. Because today, we always expect a self love from others, appreciation from others, motivation from others. Everything should come from outside, which is good. But deep within, there is someone who needs a self love, self appreciation, self motivation. Just one single word, which I always say myself, Nish, it's fine. You can do the best. You are the best version of yourself today. That will instill a lot of confidence. I just take a deep breath, drink some water or sip of water, and come forward and speak. And I have tried and tested it on myself. The days when I've done a pep talk and then gone for a meeting versus taken it for granted and then gone for a meeting, there was a huge difference the way I presented. In the first version, I was more polite, composed, and my thoughts were very clear. The flow of my conversation was already planned. I'm going to talk this slide, this example, this is what I'm going to do. But a sudden extempo, I could still do it because people may not know, but deep within, I was more perplexed. Okay, so try next time, and it may be 1 or 2 efforts, then it becomes a habit, and you will see a huge difference. Listen to good podcast, and especially the people who speak really well, or learn to read good books. For me, a couple of books which changed my life are Abdul Kalam's Wings of Fire, I Dare of Kiran Bedi, Experiments with Truth by Mahatma Gandhi. So these are few books which really, and Ikigai, the Japanese version of living. These are few books which has made a huge impact in my life. And I would encourage you guys to read books apart from your day-to-day textbooks or just case brief. Take out some time, say about like 10 minutes, or make it a mandate like I will read 5 pages. I think this has helped me a lot. Like 5 pages every day from a book I'm going to read. It may be a fiction, non-fiction, personality development books, autobiography, anything of your area of interest. Read it because your vocabulary will improve a lot. And my personal suggestion is if you can still subscribe for a newspaper and read, please read. It's not your Bangalore Mirror, all of those things, but really a good content like a Hindu or a Deccan, a good content newspaper, please read, because a print media will help you to create a better impression rather than the digital media where you just scroll the news. I know that's faster, which I still use, but I still subscribe for newspaper and ensure that, like how my dad used to read, drink coffee and read the newspaper, I still follow that religiously because it just gets you attention span and you don't read any rubbish. You're not, have you experienced reading a book, your attention span is much longer compared to when you're scrolling your phone, because you would scroll for a news and suddenly you have some other shopping app or something else pop up and your attention span just changes and you would have spent like good 30 minutes on something which is not even required. Have you experienced it? Yes, no. And the worst enemy, I'll tell you, if you're in a session and you don't switch on your video, because the moment you're not switching on your video, you're in your very casual attire and that becomes a practice. Second, you are not attentive. Yeah, 7 habits of highly effective people. Yes, I've read Who Will Die When You Cry. That also talks a bit about your 5 a.m. club of Robin Sharma. So try to switch on your video from your upcoming sessions and you will see the difference. Try to have a notebook next to you and make points. It may be the worst speaker on earth, but if you get one good takeaway, which you can implement in your life, that's worth for good 60 minutes of session that you will attend. So please try to do that. That will make a difference. Next slide is on the written communication. Any questions on the oral communication till now? Any questions? Anyone wants any point repetition?
Nishweta, Vaibhav had remarked that along with mirror exercise, can we also do video recording for your prep?
You can. That's a good thing to do. If you can read a paragraph and do a video recording, and but it should be a repetitive effort. The first day, second day, third day, so that you get to know the voice modulation and you learn better. Second, if you can get it captured. I see when I used to do my moot courts in college, I would always become a mooter in front of a friend, especially who's a critic. Please have a friend or your parents who is your biggest critic. Don't have friends who always praise you and keep you in good books. I had my friend who literally said, Nish, your content is good, but you're not bowing. Nish, you have to ensure to smile when you start speaking. Not that continuous, only when you start speaking, bow, smile, and then start. You're missing to ask permission before your next submissions. You're very, like she literally observed and told me that when you're turning the pages, you're just turning it very fast. That automatically shows you're not confident or you're stressed. These minute critics is something which my best friend shared, who was in Africa at the moment, helped me to win Best Advocate twice back to back. So it is very good if you can do a recording instead of you judging it. If you get some third person to judge it, it's very good to get the opinion. And gradually you become pro in that. That's a good thing to do, Seba. Next is your audience and format. So it's important to talk about who will be your audience, because when you are having a conversation, knowing people, it's important. It's not randomly you go ahead and prepare things and do it. The composition and the style, the structure of your conversation, written or oral, and the proofreading. These are the four broad segments that you need to focus when you start writing. Next slide. So, audience and the format. When you're having any written communication, it may be to your colleague, friend, senior manager, top management, or recruiter. At the moment, maybe Maternity Act, which is implemented in 2017, but let's take that example. Maternity Act has been amended. You are the fresher in the team or you are the legal head. The brunt is the same end of the day. You have to write a note to your top management. What are the things that you write? Will you write a detailed email or will you write it in bullet points? The top changes. What will you do? What will you do? Because your managing director, maybe most of them would be an engineer or a technical person. They may not be a lawyer. So how will you write? Is it just in bullet point, very crisp, concise, to the point, what are the changes? Or you'll write the entire 2017 amendment that has happened. What is Maternity Act? What are the changes? How is it? What is it going to happen? So now for the top management, we finished. Assume you're writing it to your senior manager, for your reporting manager. How will you communicate? Detailed or very short? It would be more of a detailed report because it's your reporting manager who would again be a legal head. So he has a knowledge of law. So you can talk about the law. Okay. In case if he's in overseas, then give him an assessment of how is the Indian law before and now, because he may not know the earlier legislation. But if he's an Indian lawyer, you can still take an assumption that he knows about it. Maybe you have to talk to your friend. How will you think of telling or communicating it to it? Maybe a friend calls you up and say that I understand there's a new maternity act that's been implemented. What would you suggest? How communicate? Is it short, crisp, detailed to a friend? You can still go in a very quick conversation or short one. Yes, this has been implemented. These are the changes. Very short, right? Need not talk much on detail. The same topic of maternity, don't you see a very change from a top management to a reporting manager and a friend or a colleague? That's a first step of your assessment. Whenever you're having a conversation, like even for a recruiter, when you're having a conversation, please ask them, with whom do I have my next round of interview? Because based on that, your thought process also has to change. Your top management, you should understand the pulse of your MD. Like I had a managing director who was an engineer, but he was so keen in law because he wanted to pursue law and he couldn't. When I was working in Metal, he would always appreciate in 4-5 bullet points in the body of email what is the impact. Like Maternity Act, it is changed from 12 weeks of leave to 26 weeks of leave. A crash facility needs to be provided. You, in case of adoption, it is still 12 weeks. He wanted in the body of email, but a detailed assessment he always expected to be enclosed, and he would make an effort to read it as well because it was more of a knowledge for him. So it's not just you can take a random decision, okay, it's for my top management, I'll write in 4 bullet points and close it. If you can get the pulse of the person, whether that person is going to be a detailed person or very crisp person, accordingly draft an email or your note, because that is the impression that he is going to create about you. Regarding your manager again, if possible, try to have a quick call or one-on-one conversation saying, I've already completed my research on Maternity Act. This is the main changes. In a while, I'll be sharing a note with you, because giving that heads up and bringing them on the same page is very important, because you would have sent a note, he doesn't have a time, or his interpretation is different, Okay, lawyers are always born to do interpretation. So it's better to come to a same page and then do a document. With a friend or a colleague, if you check with your friend, are you asking for your knowledge purpose or are you asking for a company purpose? Because he may be also a lawyer. Then you say, see, my assessment is for my organization. This is the change in the law. You do the assessment for your company. You need not do his work. Okay. So it's not just one legislation. How are you going to present? The presentation style will also vary case to case and person to person. Did you understand the first step? Does it make sense? Yes, no? Okay. The second step is absolutely dependent on you. If you really have to grow in your career, you need to be flexible and be rigid only when it is required. You should understand the battles that you have to really pick in corporate. And I've also learned it very hard way. I would initially be a very rebellion or I would take everything to my heart. Okay, if there is a very simple feedback, I would take it to my heart. But now I've learned to pick my battle. Not every comment of your manager need to be responded. Wait and give it back to them. Not every criticism you need to accept it. Evaluate your criticism. If you feel it is accurate, implement in your life. Otherwise, just say thank you and leave it. In this democratic country, they also have their right to share their perspective. If they're toxic, if they're negative, leave them there. Let them be the way they are. We are not their family members to change them. So allow your professional colleagues to be the way they are. If you really feel it's getting overboard, then communicate. But if you can just feel ignore it and you're still happy in your space, just be. Because at times you go and confront, those people even fire back a lot. So it's a very thin line to be professional and always take things personal. But when it is a lot of personal comments, your family life is pulled into it, then don't even think who the person is, give it back. You may lose a job, but if there is one person who should stand by yourself always, that should be you. But when it is questioning your respect and dignity, stand by yourself. It may be against your MD, against your HR director, it may be against your manager. Don't think about your appraisal cycle. Don't think about where will you get a job. If you don't get a job, you can create a job for yourself. World is a very big place to live. It's not that you should work in the same company. There are n number of companies. Picking up a right battle and setting up standards for yourself is very important in corporate, especially because corporate has a lot of politics. I know how it is, but I don't step into it. That's what I'm very clear about because for me, my ethics is important. But if there is a battle which is very shit to play, I just set my boundaries. I say, I don't even want to get involved to it. Just do your job, wrap up, and create your branding at your work. Let your work speak. Today, I still remember the documents which I would have drafted 10 years ago in Kennemetal. People still use it. When I was in college, I had started the legal literacy week. It was like a 1 week because I was chosen as the legal aid president. The college was almost 8 years by then when I joined. But it was my idea where I went and said, ma'am, why don't we, instead of having a prison visit, why don't we have 1 week where we have experts from different domain come and speak to us? So she liked the idea and she said that, okay, you have some people come over and speak. So I connected with all the people with whom I did my internship. And that 1 week was very much appreciated. And even till today, college continues legal literacy week. And I feel very happy about it because my name is there on the brown board as a best law Catonian. And this was also one thing was the reason to choose me as a best Catonian among almost 12 people who were competing that time. So you make a mark every day, every moment. Don't take things for granted. Okay. At times you feel slow, you have your personal problem, step aside, take a break, take counseling, breathe, have your vacation, relax. At times, relaxation is very important. It's not always running. But at the same time, you should always remember, I enter a meeting room, I give my valid inputs and come out. I'm doing this document. This will be the best document that I would have drafted or vetted. I made a mistake in the previous activity. This time I'll rectify it. That learning curve and growing curve is your primary responsibility. You have to not ever compete with your colleagues. Your competition should yourself. Because if you compete with yourself and become a better version every day, trust me, one day you become irreplaceable. People say in job you're replaceable, you die. See, if you die, even in your family, you're replaceable. I lost my dad last year. I love my dad. It doesn't mean I could keep the dead body forever, right? You are replaceable everywhere. But what my dad did to me, I still remember. Same thing in corporate, or same thing in your law firm or your own office. Anything good that you do, it's important. See, I don't agree on the point when you say that you should be a thin skin. I don't. I still believe that you should be kind, you should be genuine, you should be proactive to help people. Because we are humans, never lose humanity for sake of money or for sake of power for anything else. Because fundamentally, that's what I was talking to Malvika when I started the session. We would have had like 30, 40 teachers during our primary and high school. Do you remember all 30 names, or do you remember one or two teachers' name who really mentored you, who guided you, who was kind to you? Whom do you remember? Do you remember your syllabus, or do you remember a teacher who'd always smile and give you a better attention, help you to grow? Whom do you remember, guys? Like, I personally remember my teachers who really nurtured me and made me think better. That's important. Grow a thick skin. Don't take every comment and further. Don't expect your colleagues to love you and compassionate. Absolutely, right? The person who has a genuine behavior, people who are kind-hearted is always good. Your colleague may backlash you, your colleague may put you on spot. They may intentionally escalate. Your manager during the end of the appraisal cycle will not give you a good appraisal. It's fine. But don't hold on to those grudges. Don't hold on to that enmity, because negativity kills you first than others. If you're a kind human, you will always be remembered. Trust me on this. If you're a cheerful person, you will be remembered. And that's what I follow in my life. I don't get into any politics. I don't get into whatever crap they want to do, how they want to manipulate things, how they want to impress their manager. I never do any of these things. In fact, I back answer my managers the most. I'm someone like, I shouldn't be quoting the person's name, so I'm stopping. My manager is writing his company secretary paper now. Okay, he's a lawyer. He's done his LLM in UK, but he's writing CS because he had quit his CS 10 years ago. So this time he's writing his strategic management paper. So I told him, if this time you don't clear your strategic management paper, you lose all the power to call each of your employee and say, this is strategy. This is how you should create a visibility and everything. So all my other colleagues is like, from where did you get that strength to tell? I said, yeah, more than working, we are talking about strategy. We should make legal team. We should create strategy. We should create visibility. Who will work? I feel your work has to speak for you. Your document will speak for you. 10 years down the line, you go back and see your document, people will say, okay, this was a first document created by so and so person and still holds good. So that's the best thing about our profession. So anytime you draft any document, remember your audience and the format that you're going to present, detailed or short or crisp or whatever. Let the content be genuine. One thing which I'm observing today in most of the interviews which I take for freshers today, ChatGPT. You ask them any question, ma'am, 1 second, quick, especially it's in virtual. They say, ma'am, I have some video issues. They just go turn off their video and click on ChatGPT and read what is it. Do you think on the other side we don't understand stuffs? You prepare your resume using ChatGPT. You prepare your talks based on the ChatGPT. Where is that originality end of the day? Technology is here to support you. Don't make technology to replace you. The day when the technology replaces you, you will be nowhere. And that would be the tough battle to fight later. Next slide, please. The composition and the style. So anytime you have to have any written communication, please try to structure your entire outline. Maybe if I say you have to go for a movie, you have to plan, right? On which date, with whom are you going, which movie, what is the time that you want to, whether you want to choose a theater which is closer to your residence, how are you going to commute? There will be n number of questions that you think. Similarly, when you draft any formal document, the entire chunk of preparing an amendment on maternity act, split it up into smaller stuffs and then go ahead and speak. Ask about your audience 100 times, because a person who already knows about the law, you need not sit and re-explain. You just have to talk more about the assessment. Maybe you're talking to an engineer who doesn't even know about the law. Then you have to talk about it. Your main theme of the conversation should never miss. I have attended so many sessions in my life as a speaker today where I've seen people, they miss the content in between. Like, have you experienced the speaker would be talking 100 different things, but the main thing is lost at the end of the session? That's a problem which happens if you're not attentive of what you're speaking or not formulated your flow chart of how your conversation has to go. So please focus on the main theme. There is something called as AIDA formula. I'll teach you in detail, and always use a simple language. Legal jargons are good only in documents, but if your document is going to a non-lawyer, especially when you have to draft a policy, which is an all-employee policy, like a posh policy, maternity policy, crash facility policy. Common man, an employee who's a non-lawyer would be your targeted audience. Entire document you keep telling, including but not limited to, notwithstanding to, save as otherwise. Who will even understand these words? Do you think people will even appreciate a document? Instead, keep it simple. In the policy, it is applicable to 1 to 3 people, not applicable to 1 to 3 people. Just mention it very simple so they understand. Okay. Rewording of the law is absolutely fine without losing the essence of it. Next, EIDF formula means attention, interest, desire, and action. Have you heard about this formula anytime before? Any one of you? Okay. Why is iPhone having better sales when compared to any Android phone? Why do majority of people today across the globe have a desire to own an iPhone at least once in their lifetime? The very same technique that has been followed. iPhone, even before the launch, have you seen them talking a lot about it? iPhone, which version of iPhone is there today? Which version of iPhone is launched now recently? 16? Yeah. So how many days before did they try to grab the attention of the customers? We are launching soon. It's coming. This is happening. It was for a very long time. If you keep listening to it, will it not create an interest for a customer, especially who has a brand royalty of iPhone, to at least go and see it once and create a desire later after seeing it's an updated version? I want it, or I want to have that. Yes or no? Finally, on the day of launch, have you seen iPhone saying that it's 1 lakh? They just cut it and say that the launch day price is 95,000 rupees. Have you seen the strategy they play with the pricing on the day of launch? That is because they want people to quicken the action. Because you have a desire, and if you quickly don't take an action, you may lose that span of attention. The very same thing as a lawyer, even you should implement. Today, there is some change in the law, or today the contract has reached your table. Immediately, you can't do the research because it may be a holiday or you have your personal emergency, fine. But at least send a holding note saying that we acknowledge your contract within 2 business days, we'll get back to you, and give realistic timelines and stand by your timelines. There is a change in the Maternity Act and looks more progressive, but would have an impact on the company. I will do my research and get back to you in next 1 working day. Talk about it. You've already created attention, and the people will respect you because you're proactive at your work. And next is you're going to talk about your presentation in a very crisp bullet points on the body of email, detailed assessment in the notes. Below say that to discuss further and collaborate and work towards it, I'm setting up a meeting on so and so date. I would request all of you to participate. And when you set a meeting, please understand this is a mistake most of them do. Check whether their calendar is available at that time slot. It's not that you're free and you set it up. You want others to come and join the meeting. Therefore, set up the meeting when all of them are available, or at least most of them are available, and come to an action point. If you do this within a span of 1 week, will you be respected? I'm not talking about the visibility here. Will you be respected as a professional? Yes or no? Or you feel this is just something, however it works, I get my salary. You will definitely be respected. I never work for visibility, but I always respect my profession. So it's important for people to feel having a lawyer in the team is very important. Today in corporate, lawyers are a cost center. People make huge investments in human resource department. You will have 100 people to just onboard, plus they have a lot of consultant. People don't think so much to make investment in HR. People don't think too much to make investment even in the finance team, because you want them to process the payment, you want them to do the payroll. Visibility is created by the CA department for that matter. CAs get outrightly, qualified CA get a better salary than a qualified CS, because we are not great in our branding today. Many people are of an assumption if you're not good in academics, you go ahead and study law. I have personally heard it for myself. You were good in your studies, why did you choose law? I was like, what nonsense is this? Because we have lost the entire time period of branding for our own profession, be it CS or be it BC. because no one even talks about lawyers in a very high regard. If someone is not doing it, doesn't mean even you should shut your mouth. You have to talk about your profession. You need to make people feel that your profession is required and having a legal team is very much required. You have to brand and say that we do require additional headcount because we have an additional workload. You need to talk about the importance of the contract before entering into business transaction. You need to talk about the data privacy laws before taking any sort of a sensitive personal data from an employee or from any of your client. You need to mention about the company law compliances regarding the incorporation of the company and all the post regulatory compliances. You need to say how an employee has to be handled in the process of termination, onboarding, POSH or crash facility, additional perks and benefits. This is how you make your profession visible to your organization and the society at large. And something which I have personally observed and I have gone through, no one guides you in this profession. People are clueless. You study law, people are till date clueless whether I should take litigation or whether I should take corporate. No corporate lawyer wants to come out and speak how corporate works. No lawyer wants to come out and speak whether working for a criminal law is better or civil law is better. What is a big loss that you're going to face when you talk about your profession or you talk about your problems, which may be a learning for someone else? You giving a holistic view, which another person may take it for their benefit. I had to actually try litigation for 6 months, quit litigation, try corporate, try CS, then come to law, then think, okay, contract drafting, then I actually experimented almost for good 8 years in my entire career cycle to be who I am today and to like the work that I am doing. But anytime if I would have got a mentor in first 2 years, I think I would have had a better clarity of what I wanted because I had to just jump to the entire sea, drown, swim, and then feel, okay, this is fine, this is not fine. So that is one reason why I decided teaching is something important. And tomorrow, my humble request to all the participants here, if anyone come for a career counseling, or anytime you can conduct free sessions, or you can go and speak in colleges where you can share your experience or share your knowledge, please make that effort because you will be remembered forever in someone's life. They may not remember your name, but they will definitely remember there is someone who told me this and that really helps. Because when I decided to quit CS after I didn't clear in my first attempt, I'm still grateful to two people like Prashant Chandra sir and Kundan sir who said me, clear your CS because it's a tough nut to crack. You are left with only 2 papers, clear it off. Then you decide what you want. Maybe if those two people did not push me on that day to say clear it, maybe I wouldn't have cleared. I would have been just a professional pass out and stop there. So please try to support each other and your next generation. Next slide. Structure, always make your document reader friendly. Try to have as much as the bullet points, bold them whenever required. Keep your communication in smaller paragraphs. Use a lot of smart arts and flow charts so that it drives the attention of the people. Next. Proofreading is very much important because your document would be executed at times, maybe even presented before the auditors or the regulators anytime. So recheck on the headings, the content, read the document. If possible, ask your colleague or someone to recheck for you. Finally, before you send out the document, ask yourself whatever important points that I thought, are they captured in this document? Next slide. Title. How many of you feel that having power makes a difference? Like if I'm a managing director of the company, it's better. If I'm a legal head, my situation is better. Today as a fresher, I can't do much. How many of you feel that? Have you read Robin Sharma's book known as A Leader Without Title? See, title always helps you. Having a designation always helps you because you are a signatory, your voice would be valued, especially in a culture like India where people feel male have a better perspective than female. Have you experienced it? Women in the board meetings cannot work efficiently. If it is for litigation or if it is for late evening calls, men are preferred over women. If you're having a tough negotiations with in case of a strike or warehouse related contracts, a male colleague is sent and not a female colleague. The moment a woman sits in the quorum, the opposite counsel automatically feels that I can win the battle, or she may not be a tough negotiator. Have you experienced the moment raises her tone, they feel that she's more aggressive versus a male raising a tone and they feel it is assertive? These are the real life challenges. Even till today, at respective homes and outside, women are still going through this. And until and unless we break the stereotypes, it's not going to change. All of these things can change only when you take up the leadership, irrespective you're a male or a female. It's you are a professional. A title is a better indication, but if you're well organized the way you function, if you have a very clear vision for your personal and your professional life. Like today is a Good Friday, I have a session with PLEA. My agenda is set for my personal life. I don't want to mix my professional and personal life. I am very clear, I want to have a vacation. This time I want to spend with my child. This time I want to spend with my mom. This is a time with my pet. This is 8 hours only at my work until and unless an emergency hits. Once you have a clear, structured, well organized living, your efficiency improves. Most of them really feel and give up at a point. I don't remember the person's name, but his famous saying, which always says, on the day one, everyone will try. Day two, 50% people will try. Day three, 10% people will try. But the day four, when you succeed, there'll be only one person who's still trying. By the day two, we would have given up. That is where the problem lies. If you have clearly decided that you have to have a certain career growth, it may be from a monetary perspective, from a designation perspective, you should organize your entire life around it. You cannot be doing the same NDA addendum, which is the basic contracts, and be comfortable and say that you'll become a legal head tomorrow. You should take up challenging tasks like MCAs. You should talk about your SOWs. You should enter into overseas related conversations. Only then you can definitely grow in your career. The moment you start saying, oh my God, I'm tired, I cannot take it further, there's a lot of difference between actual tired and you creating a tiredness for yourself. Actual tired, trust me, your body gives up, your brain gives up. You fall sick, it gives up. It doesn't do anything more. But instead, you every day telling yourself, shut, I have stress today. I cannot do this. This is not going to work. I don't know how to vet a contract. I've seen so many of them today. If they don't know how to check a contract, they don't ask for help. They keep waiting for 10 days, 15 days for an escalation until they don't work on the contract. The moment you ask them, the answer is, I was loaded. I didn't know. I missed the email. Don't manipulate the truth to protect yourself, because you're not doing any favor to yourself. Because if the habit continues, you will just be put under your performance improvement plan and we will ask you to leave the organization. Instead, learn. And if anyone reaches out to you for help at your workplace, please be kind and be empathetic. If someone is going through a rough phase, maybe a demise at someone's house, or someone is going through a financial crisis or some matrimonial disputes, if they've genuinely shared with you, keep it with you. Have empathy. Check with them, how are they doing? Do they need some support, any moral support? That's the least that you can do in the workplace. Have an empathy always. I've always seen, it's not all, like few people, you share something with them, by 10 minutes, it will be spread across. And that 10 people will spread 100 different things about it. So please have an empathy with your fellow being. Please be creative and open mind and recipient for any sort of suggestions to give and to receive. Challenge yourself every day. Like, this is what helped me to grow for that matter. Like today, as an associated director of ANSR, the two other people, not two, the new one who's joining also, like three other people who are coming are 7 years more experienced than me. From age perspective, all of them are between 7 to 9 years elder to me. Experience and age, both they are more. But then the question arises, how am I in that position? It's very simple. They are either only CS and distance learning law, or they are only into human resource. After their one degree, they did not flourish. But for me, apart from my two qualifications as a full-fledged lawyer and a company secretary, I have my certification courses which showed that I kept learning. And these people did only one sort of a job entire career, only incorporation of company, only filing of forms, only vetting bank documents. This was one area for 10 years, maybe multiple companies, but 10 years, same job. But in my career trajectory of 11 years I have today, I've worked with real estate. So you give me any lease documents of a workspace, I can do it because we are into GCC setup. You give me contracts of any labor dispute, I can take it. You give me any MSA contracts of GCC setup. As I was in Lowe's, I can do that. You talk to me about the joint venture agreements, share purchase agreements. I can do that because I'm a qualified CS. Anything that comes to my plate, I can do it. This didn't happen overnight. Trust me on this. I have burned midnight oil and I till date burn it. I still have a career growth to learn data privacy. I'm just waiting for the right time to finish it, because next boom area would be your data privacy officer. You should understand the current situation and challenge yourself. If you just fold your hands and say that I have a child at home, my husband is going to be there, I have in-laws at my residence, I'm not well, I work 8 hours a day, my commute is 12 hours a day, what and all you want to mention, no one is going to sit and help you. You have to help yourself. It's not about 10% hike which you get year end. It's how well can you present yourself and how much people will respect you. Like today, I'm just 4 months into my company. And other day, two of them told me, it was just a very candid feedback. They said, like, more than your managers, people know you today. More than your colleagues who are like 5 years, another person is 3.5 years in the company. I am more known to the people because I collaborate with people. And technically, I'm very patient as an individual. I'm a very firebrand when I have to negotiate, but internal stakeholders, whenever I have to have a conversation, I patiently listen to them. If I cannot give the contract today, I say them, I'll give it to you tomorrow, and I promise them and I give it back. I stand by my words. That is what a true leader does. And most importantly, I have 3 people reporting to me. Anytime my colleague has done the work, I give the 100 credibility to them. Even though I would have helped them like 70% of their job. But I say, you made an effort today because you guys are freshers. You're just 3 years into the system. Because I have a fresher, I have a person with 3 years, another with 5 years. With this effort, with this age, you guys have done so much. Give the appreciation to people. Bring them to limelight. Because there was one phase when I wanted a limelight, no one gave it to me. What happened to you, don't keep it with you. Rectify it. Give it to someone else. What you went through, don't make another person go through the same. And if you can take out time to teach people, do that. Next slide, please. As I told, it's important to always be a good listener, and after every meeting, if possible, send the minutes of the meeting so that there is no miscommunication. Think from the other side perspective. Maybe an HR is saying if there is an integrity issue, immediately I should terminate this employee because you don't know, they may hack the data. You cannot do that immediate termination because you should send a show cause notice. 2 show cause notice should be served. You should do an investigation. Opportunity to be heard should be given. Only then you can terminate. Even after termination, you should give them a service certificate. You may not give an experience letter, but you should give a service certificate saying from X to X date they worked. Maybe you need not write your character conduct is good. That you can refrain from writing. But standing order says you should give service certificate. I can understand from a HR perspective, but on the other side, I should also talk about the law. Now there is a deadlock because HR doesn't want the person immediately terminated. But for you, you have protocols for good 10 days to follow. Then put the person on the garden leave, revoke the access, hold the full and final settlement, but understand the problem. One problem today with lawyers is we are very intellectual people and we keep speaking without understanding the other side person, where people will not like to collaborate with you. And corporate is just about collaboration. It is not like litigation, one lawyer versus another lawyer. In legal domain, it is more as a business counselor you are. You have to understand what sales team want, what your HR wants, what your finance team wants, because your contract will have all clauses. You need to efficiently collaborate with everyone and work. And your advice should always be right, because your company may land up in risk if you give any wrong advice, and it should be business friendly. And please have a time management. I don't work after 6 p.m. I will be at home at any cost, but I manage my time. I go to office early. I don't take long tea breaks or long lunch breaks. I always try to grab a coffee to my desk work, because sitting 30 minutes for a coffee break doesn't make sense, because those people work till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. That is their personal priorities. But I have to come back home because I have other personal priorities. So it's important to have your time management. You already have 10 other commitments today. Don't tell your client today I will turn around. Tell them, can I turn around within 2 days? Keep 1 or half buffer day, because you may fall sick or you may have some urgent requirement to cater to. Be flexible with the approach. Don't be very rigid with people. because you also work for the company, even they're working for the company. End of the day, we all are same. Maybe designation is different, that's all. And try to be like a go-to person. This can happen only when you have knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, raise your hand and say that I don't know about it, I'll get back to you. But don't give a wrong advice. Second, you have to learn. Maybe there is something in that conversation. He mentioned about something. Like, I didn't know what was reverse engineering first time. I Googled what is reverse engineering. I didn't know it. I need not know as a lawyer, but there is nothing wrong to learn from different friends, different domain people. There may be few words engineers will use, HR domain will use. Learn from them and try to have friends out of your department that will help for a better collaboration. Next slide. So for people who really want to join corporate, okay, before I proceed, any question, put it in the chat box. We can unmute later maybe. Any questions until now? Is it interesting? Is it going fine? Yes, no? Okay. If you are aiming in order to become a corporate lawyer, these are different verticals, okay? Because I myself didn't know how corporate functions. For me, it was just a structure outside. One, you can completely think of doing contract negotiation and drafting. Like a company like Honeywell, Accenture, they have 100 plus lawyers vetting only contracts. They don't do any other job. You can think of that. You can think of becoming an employment lawyer, like a company like Bosch or many factories set up. They'll have one lawyer in the HR team because any day strike can happen, lockout can happen. Issues are very high in factories compared to your ITS, which has more of soft skill. So you can think of practicing more from a labor law standpoint, where even Posh is a part of it. If you're aiming after your law to become an independent consultant, especially if you're a woman, Posh consultancy is good because the chairperson should be women, and you can even become an external consultant as the one of the mandatory member in the internal committee. That's a Posh committee. You can do that. You can pursue the course of company secretary. I didn't like after a point, but worth pursuing because it gave me a double edge to negotiate my contracts, to represent myself before the board of directors, better negotiation skills, and better visibility in the company. And definitely your package lawyer versus LLB CS is better. And if you're aiming for a general counsel role in future, most of the GCCs today prefer your corporate governance role. That is a CS as well. That's why my manager wants to complete it now. So you can think of doing that. Next, if you want to have any sort of an advisory on any legislations, because people, we can do CS any point in life, no harm, you can do that. If you want to just be an advisory role, you can join a law firm and you can do that. Real estate matters like company like Prestige, Embassy, Raheja, they want lawyers who are full-fledged into real estate. One wing would be negotiating your sale deed, lease deed, leave and license agreements. Other side would be supporting them on the registration formalities. The companies, especially who have litigation lawyers, like it is, like in Merck's, we have a lawyer as known as a litigation lawyer. Her role is she will not go in the court of law and argue. She doesn't do that. Instead, we had close to 1,000 cases pending in different forums, in high court and city courts and consumer forums. We had it. Her duty was to coordinate these case lawyers. So tomorrow, if there's a new notice comes up, she'll read the notice, she'll send it to the lawyer, file the case. Or if someone has already filed the case, go ahead and contest. So her job was only to check on the brief and support the lawyers with the internal documents. You can think about it. Next is your FCPA compliance, that is your Foreign Corrupt Practices Act compliance. Most of the companies which are incorporated in UK and US need to mandatorily follow the FCPA compliance. So if you're aiming to join any company as a corporate lawyer, you just have to master this FCPA compliance, where they do the due diligence of the vendors, where you have to see whether you can give a kickback. So there's a course that you can pursue and you can do that. Okay, so these are different verticals. After I joined corporate, I have one problem. I can't stick to the same role for a long period of time. Like if I'm continuously checking 3 contracts one day, I cannot take it. Like my brain doesn't take it. I'm someone who likes to venture out all. So basically I do all of it. I have learned it in different places. Like I learned contract drafting in Lowe's, or labor law to some extent in Lowe's. Then in Merck's, exhaustively I learned it. Corporate governance in Kenamital and Prestige. Real estate matters again, Prestige. interaction with labor councils, I did in all my roles. FCPA to some extent I did in laws and works. Currently we don't do that. So I have tried. The only way to do it is, if you know anyone is working on this domain, make them your friends, show your interest and say that you would like to learn more. If you turn lucky, they will teach you. Or whenever you have to plan your objectives in the beginning of the year, have an open conversation with your manager that you want to learn something more. Like now, I'm planning to do data privacy course. I'm vocal about it. I'm being open about it. Next slide. How to climb the corporate ladder. So it's important for you to update yourself about your organization. Like most of these organizations today are on LinkedIn. Just follow them, understand what is business. It's important to know a bit about the business also. Don't just know law, know the business and how the industry is doing. Today, GCC set up in India is the boom area, and that is the reason I took it up. When the Ukraine war was happening, Merck completely removed its business from Russia. That was industry specific news that you should be aware of. So, a few things you should know about what your company is doing and what that entire segment is doing. Always don't wait for your manager or someone. Maybe it's a conversation, 10 of them are there, and you have time and bandwidth, and you can say that, okay, this task I will take up. I would like to learn more about it. So I would like to read, take these initiatives. It will take you long run. Individually, it will help you to grow and learn. Second, you become a person who will be respected and tough to replace. Holding on to job is important. Today, most of the people I hear is, oh, there is a lot of recession. My son lost a job, my daughter lost a job, or my job is in threat. I know there is a recession and that is a continuous process. Or company is going downsizing, it's a continuous process. However, if you are a person who is given 100% at your work and you had a zeal to learn and grow, you are an asset to the company. No one would like to lose you. Today it is difficult with, I recently read an article and which I'm personally facing as well and seen it with Gen Zs who are coming to the market. It is difficult to get. At least millennials are way better. Recruiters are finding difficult to work with Gen Zs. So you still have an opportunity to hold on to your jobs. And you may have a job for whatever reason. It may be the simplest reason of paying your EMI. It is a valid reason for you because you are the breadwinner of the family. You need not listen to people where they say that, oh, what is the career that you're talking about? You just do a 9 to 6 job. A friend of mine always says this to me. What career are you talking about? You just do a 9 to 6 job. I'm a practicing lawyer. Boss, that is for you. You have a father who can still feeds you. You have property, but that's not my life. I need a standard source of income. For me, my career growth is the growth trend that I am having for my age and something which I do out of passion beyond my work hours. That's the definition of career growth for me. So your definition of your career growth, your definition of your life, you have to draft it and you have to live by it. If you keep listening to everyone, it doesn't work out. So try to come out of your comfort zone and take bold decisions in your life. Never stop learning. This is a problem which I see with most of them today. No one wants to learn. I have a degree, which is like 10 years old degree. And most of our syllabus today in law colleges are not updated. And unfortunately, if you are in a college where your professor is just 2 years elder to you, hardly they have any experience. Or if they're 20 years experienced also is a problem because they know the same thing. They don't know anything new, what's happening in the market. Then how will you learn? You collaborating with right set of people during your internship days or when you go to different colleges, attending different sessions and webinar. And kudos to people who have joined on a holiday today. You have made an effort to learn something new. That's important in life. Every day you may not learn, at least once in a week, once in a month, or at least one thing every year. That small step is like 60 things that you will learn in your life expectancy. That is different. That's something which makes you feel proud about yourself, makes you feel happy about yourself. Quick turnaround time to your management with the impact assessment so that at the top level, your name is always there. Ensure time management. If you have promised within 3 days you should give. In case if you can't give, send them a note saying that this is the reason for delay. I'll get back to you. Feedback. Most of us don't know how to give feedback. Because the problem is in our houses, we would have heard someone scolding us and we go and do the same thing at our workplace. There is something called as sandwich method of feedback, which Scandinavian companies follow. And trust me, if you can ever join a company, join a Scandinavian companies. I have worked in US companies. I've worked in India US mixed company with management difference. I've worked 100% founder driven companies, but the best experience is working with Scandinavian companies like Denmark companies, Switzerland companies, because they follow the best culture. They follow a sandwich method of feedback. For example, if your colleague has made a mistake, don't directly call them and start blasting them. Instead, listen to them. I understand yesterday the mail went late, but you had promised to give them early morning. But what was the reason for the delay? Understand. In between, say that this is not the first time that has happened with you. In this week, it has been thrice. And just because there was a delay from your end, it was escalated and we lost a business. Make them understand what was the negative repercussion and why there was an escalation. Finally, give them a comfort zone saying, see, I understand you are overloaded or you had some personal emergency. I just wanted to convey you what are the problems that we all faced because of your delay. Next time onwards, if you have any challenge, reach out to me beforehand so I can assist you better. Or reach out to your colleague informing me so that you both can work together. Give them some solution. Instead of randomly calling a person and shouting why there was an escalation at 11 o'clock, why did you work on the contract? Do you think even people will appreciate you? And most importantly, and he is also a human who's working. Please follow a sandwich method of feedback, which is the best way to work. As I always tell, it's not how long you speak, it's how well you speak. What is the difference that you're trying to make in another person's life? Today, I would have worked late hours for my managers who respected me versus my managers who just tried to bully me. I would just shut down the laptop and just go. I'm like, I'm not working. Even though I had time, I wouldn't have worked because all of us have very bad ego. And at times when your self-respect is questioned, no one wants to stand by that. So if you want to have a good manager later stage of your life, incorporate from today to have a better conversations with people and follow a method of sandwich feedback. You can Google more about it, you will know. Try to give the right advice and follow all meeting etiquettes as much as possible. Next slide. And have a proper presentation skills. Stand by your company's vision and mission statement. Find a mentor at work. For me, I think only twice my managers were my mentor, but otherwise it was someone else from other department who was my mentor. I've learned from worst managers in my life to how not to be. Every human you meet in your life, you learn how to be and how not to be. Okay. So learn from everyone. That's what I would say. And before you join a call or you conduct a session, you have to be a meeting, check the right time, talk to them. I have seen people, especially few managers, 9 p.m. they are free and they directly call you. Don't do that. Drop a message. Is it a good time to call? Because it's after office hours. You may be free or you may be in some other time zone. But on the other side, the person, it may be 9 p.m. for them to sleep or to have their personal life. Call, check. Is it a good time? Can I talk to you? Because it is after office hours, even if it is during office hours. If someone is working on a task, and I've seen people like randomly calling, hey, come here. We are not dogs to go. I don't even move from my chair. I just sit. I'll be like, oh, you called me? I think my parents have named me. You can call me by my name. And this is the pronunciation. I get very irritated when people mispronounce my name. And when I pronounce someone's name, I always ask, is it a right pronunciation? Respect another individual. That's important. I've seen a CFO in my previous organization with like something which I've learned. If there is a person who comes with a tray of all the juice or coffee or anything to a meeting room, he would stand and open the door for that waiter or for the office boy. He would do that. Whatever, even if he's a presenter, he would open the door. I would always appreciate that gesture. And after taking that coffee or any juice, he would always say, thank you, sir. He's a CFO of the company. But for me, more than his intellectual capacity, and I always told him, sir, this is something which I appreciate. He used to tell me very humble way, Nishvitha was blessed with good parents. I got education. If he was fortunate enough to get a right education, I think he would do better than me because I till date don't know how to make a coffee, but he does a good job. He's very good at his work. So it's just that the time and destiny which played different. So stay grounded. That's important. So be a good team player, be self-disciplined, have punctuality. Today we follow flex hours, it's okay. But at least for going for meeting 10 minutes before, join the call. If you're a presenter, see whether everything is correct. Have confidence. And anytime you want to post something on LinkedIn comment, write articles on LinkedIn, do a good networking, which will really help. Because I've seen students saying, Ma'am, I want to publish articles. Where do I do? It's not that until unless you have a name for yourself, no one will even publish your articles. The best way is LinkedIn. Write articles on LinkedIn, post it, repost it. Once people start knowing you, then it becomes easier. Next slide. Very small things that makes a lot of difference, which I've seen with students and even professionals. You scan a document, you send the document as is. Please rename the documents. Go with the proper subject title. That's important. You can't have a scanner name which says XXX011. No, rename your document. As I told you, pronounce the names correctly and don't get into someone's personal life. What happened in your life last night? What happened to your father? What is your father's name? He may be a foreigner. For them, father's name is nowhere a big deal. For us, it's a big deal. Respect across culture, especially in corporate, cross-cultural respect is very important. Try to join the call at least 5 minutes before. Avoid regional language in any conversations. I've seen many people suddenly talking in Hindi. It may be a language that you speak at your residence, or you may think it is the national language of India, which is not true. However, you may have another side party who may be a South Indian who doesn't know a single word in Hindi. Or you may have someone who is from Denmark who doesn't know Hindi. And you have spoken randomly. And especially, I've heard people saying TK. TK is fine, but why? Or in Kannada, you say chill madi. It is an informal conversation. Please don't talk in your vernacular language in any public forum or any official conversations. Please don't do that. Please have a genuine care towards your colleague. Don't get into gossip. If you are genuinely caring for a person, ask, okay, I understand your mother was unwell. What happened? Do you want any support? Don't go and ask about their mother so that you want to know. Or someone had a breakup, you want to talk about it so that you have some story to cook. It just dips your own character and dignity. You're not going anywhere out of it. Because, and one more thing, I believe in the law of karma. It will again fire back. Why do you want to get into it? Never confront or defame a person. He is that, she is that, or you don't know law. I've heard managers passing comments like this. What did you study in law college? You don't know what is limitation of liability. Which college teaches limitation of liability or indemnification? Which college talks about how to draft an NDA? How can you expect so many things from a fresher when they don't know anything? Did you know when you joined? Definitely no, right? So don't always put yourself in a superior position and keep defaming someone who is very vulnerable to you. It may be the power, it may be education. That doesn't work or doesn't stay long run. And I've seen few students, it's not this forum, but I teach in Law Seeker. I've seen few students having a lot of audacity. We pay their fees. Let them teach. Yeah, you pay the fees for you to learn. We are here for a reason. And this is something which most of the professors are facing today. Any colleges I go, they're like, students don't greet them. Student back answer saying that, why are you forcing me to attend college? I'll pay the penalty for the late attendance or attendance shortage. Don't do that. You have no rights to confront someone or defame. If someone is questioning on your self-respect and self-dignity, go to any extent to prove them wrong. But you have no authority to question anyone's self-respect. Excuse yourself whenever it's required. Maybe you want to excuse from a meeting room. Say that, excuse me, for whatever reason. You want to pick up an urgent call. You say that, I have a personal emergency, I have to answer this call. Randomly, don't take a call in the same meeting room and keep talking. You may be someone head, but others are not jobless out there. Check your font, spelling, text before you send any document. Alignments are very important. If you're anytime sending an email for a first time to another person, mention your full name, your designation, and the phone number. Because your email would be so elaborated and they want to have a quick conversation with you. So first time, it's always good to give your phone number. Follow up, you can just say regards Nishvitha and close it. These are very smaller aspects of life which many people will not even highlight it to you. But trust me, it will take you long run when you are basically a good human. I don't feel there's any time. See, I tilted Miss Ratan Tata in my life, not because he was head of Tata. I miss him because he was a good human. Being an Islamic person, whatever today communalism that people talk about, I still look up to Mother Teresa and Abdul Kalam. Not because he was a scientist or another person got a Nobel Prize. I look up to them for the simplicity that they held in their life, and they spoke and they lived up to it. They were very genuine. And today, any great personalities are not someone who, at least I look up to, are wearing some very branded clothes or being some luxurious life. Today, if you go and check the history, people who are good from heart will be remembered and cherished forever. So, my key takeaway for you today is life is a very beautiful journey. Don't always think it's a puzzle that you should sit and solve. Something worked for someone, why didn't it work for me? Don't regret for it. It's a mystery that you have to live. My best wishes for each one of you here. And thank you so much for the opportunity, Malvika.
So, Nishweta, can we take a few questions or
Yes, before
you're
that, I
short
think
of?
Sonali had a question, something on the bonus, and I said that I'll take it up later. Sonali, if you can paste it again. Okay, one second. I'm not very clear about the technical part of the bonus part, ma'am, as I'm not very well versed about it. What should I look forward with the fresher? How can I give the employer suggestions? See, whenever you're talking about the suggestions to the employer, draft your appointment letter well. You need to understand few regulatory aspects, like 30 days of minimum notice period in case of termination for convenience. You have to give the gratuity if the person completes 4.8 months. Crash facility is mandatory for all employees. It's not just female employees, but all employees. Maternity benefit is mandatory. Bonus is mandatory if your wage is less than 21,000 rupees. So these are few things that you should be mindful of. Okay, can you please suggest any courses which can help furthering your career growth? See, your courses are something you should understand where do you want to rank in your life in future. So if you are aiming to be a person who would like to do more of a company secretary related job, then CS is something which you can look at. But if you are aiming to do the contract drafting, see, if you are okay to pay the fees, I don't say the course is great, but you can take up Law Seco. If you want to do it on your own because money is a constraint, then there is a website called as Business Standards. That is something which I checked first. You get very good templates. You have to practice. And remember, law is not just studying, it's more on practice. How much more you practice is how involved you get into it.
Nishweta, in the registration form, there's one question: how to network as a law student.
One, you have to first of all create a brand for yourself. Now, for example, if there is a mentor who's come to your session, send them a LinkedIn request. If you are anytime looking for a job opportunity, you will always see the recruiters who keep posting. Try to follow them and do them. Second is you should actively participate in all sort of co-curricular and extracurricular activities, because only then you will be in a position to make your mark. Okay, maybe if this can help, it's not just praising myself. How many of you feel that I attended an interview and got a job till date? How many of you feel that I attended interviews, I prepared my resumes, posted on LinkedIn, Naukri, and then I got my job? All my two, three, fifth job is mine. Okay, all my 5 jobs for that matter. How many of you feel that? How many of you feel I got the job through the normal recruitment process? Yes or no? At least tell that.
Maybe initially you must have gone through the interview process and later it was you were spotted.
No, from the day one. Kennemetal, my role, which I took as a CS intern and advocate. So I was maintaining dual role. I was appointed as a consultant because I'd completed my law. At the same time, I had to finish my 15 months of articleship. So I took up the dual role. That was actually, I was part of the EDP where I was very active in answering and doing all my activities. I didn't even know this was going to help me somewhere in future. When Kennemetal wanted someone who is a full-time lawyer, I mean, completed law, and someone who wants to pursue CS, when this reference came to the chairperson, without a second thought, he called me up and said that tomorrow just go for an interview and you will have to try this out. I didn't even have a CV of my own. I just said, okay, sir. And I said, I don't even have a CV. And my mom was against Kennemetal because it is like 22 kilometers away from my residence. And my mom was like, immediately after college, how can you even go take 1 month break for yourself? I said, I'll go and attend the interview. Let me do that. I went, attended the interview. I just casually went and sat. And they just asked, what is your potential? Why are you taking law and all? Remember this? My first interview was with the legal manager, the head of HR, head of legal. That was 2 people, both based out in India. The second call was with the person in Singapore. My first interview was also with overseas person. I finished the interview. I didn't have a resume. Only after 10 days, they said that to ensure all your payment formalities, we want the CV at least for reference in our employee file. We want it. Could you please prepare one? Then I just prepared some random stuff and gave it to them. This was my first job where I was there for 3.5 years. I was very comfortable. I said, I am not leaving Kennemetal. I'm going to retire. This was my plan in Kennemetal. The second one was Prestige, again MSOP batch. My friend Meghna, she wanted to attend prestige interview. It was not me. It was a campus placement. So she never worked for a listed company. I was the only person in that batch of 40 students who had a listed company exposure because Fortune 500 company was Kenamital and it was listed. So I was teaching to four of my friends like Vadi, Meghna, and everyone. I was teaching, say, this is listed company. This is what happens. Within 30 minutes, you should file. This is how a company secretary does. You should tell, see, practicing people will not have experience of corporate works. So I was telling them how corporate works. Mr. Venkat Narayan, who is the CFO of the company, who later became the CEO and now he is no longer associated with the organization. He saw me teaching when he went to the restroom. So he just came out. He saw me teaching. He again went back, and he finished the interview of all four. And he asked my friend Meghna, who is that girl in a blue color dress who was teaching? Oh, her name is Nishvitha. She's a lawyer and she's working with Kenamital. Can you call her? Meghna came and said, I was like casual, went, yes, sir. Are you looking for a job change? I said, no, sir, I'm not looking for a job change. What should I get you in for? I was like, nothing. I said, I don't want to quit. I really don't want to quit. Then he randomly asked me a few questions. Okay, I heard you teaching something. What did you teach her? What is it? And I was what, 26, 25, 26. I was very hyper. I'm hyper even till date. So I was like, no, sir, this is what. Then he cross questioned me. No, no, I think you are incorrect. It is not 30 days. It's just within 15 minutes you have to do it. This is a compliance issue. This particular form is incorrect. And I was so aggressive. I was like, no, sir, what you're telling is incorrect. We have done, this is what it is. This is what you have to do. This is the protocols. So he was actually testing me, which I didn't realize. While going, he spoke to the chairperson, to the Noor Sumaya, who is the counselor, and said that send that girl to office tomorrow for the second round of interview. Ma'am came and said, I said, ma'am, I don't want to go. Like, why should I go? He said, no, the CFO has said, at least for that, you go tomorrow. My MSOP batch was still happening. I was yet to get my CS convocation. I didn't have my CS membership. I went to office and he said, this is the package. You're joining the company. I was like, sir, no, I don't want to. He's like, go home and talk to your mother or someone whom you really look up to. Then I went and spoke to Kundan sir, who was my manager in Kenamital. He said, change. All this while I was greedy to have you, but now for your career growth, as you're also getting your CS membership, you are a biggest asset. But I really want you to grow in your career. Change the job. That's how prestige happened. I went to one session. I spoke in a session. That's when Bahura Avinash saw me. He hired me for Lowe's, which was a startup. My friend gave my reference to Arvind Kishore in Merck's, and that's where Merck's happened. And from Merck's, ANSR again, Lowe's, ANSR were JV partners. I was negotiating for Lowe's. When they decided to build a team for ANSR, without a second thought, they said that please go ahead and pick that girl and do it. So the salary, every time what I want, I got it. And even today, I don't know how to do a CV. If you ask me to conduct a session on how to make a CV, I'll have to Google. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know how to use Naukri. I don't know how to use Monster Job. I don't know anything. But till date, 12 years, 5 jobs, all were just my visibility, God's grace, and right people at the right time who walked in, for which I've always looked up to them. And I've always ensured their repute was never infringed or damaged. Their choice was never wrong. Like till date, they say that you are a big shoe to fit in. Like people, like 3 people's job I've done all alone. So that's how my journey has been. So if you say or tell me getting employment is difficult at times, maybe it's luck. I don't say no, but 5 times I can't be lucky. So much I can tell you. There's a lot of effort that I put in. I still did write articles. I still did go do network with different colleges. I till date go to forums and speak, irrespective I'm paid or not. I still ensure that every document that goes from my desk is valued, because that 10 people who work in this company will go to some other company who will help you to get the job on the following day. So you just have, like today, the girl whom I've got to my company last week, Aina, she's the girl whom I picked from Reva University when I went for a session. And she says me like, ma'am, how did you do this? You could have got other people. I said, someone picked me one day, Aina. Now it's a time for me to give it back to people who really deserve, because she was also going through to get a job. I was like, yeah, she has a potential. Bring her in. The only problem with her is she's good, but she cannot articulate. Bring people in. When you have the power in hands, just make it better for your life and for others as well.
So, think Nishweta, can we conclude the session? We are
Yes,
done, and we've taken a lot of your time.
my pleasure.
Thank you so
Yes.
much for giving us so much clarity and mentoring us, giving us so much guidance. There's so much to take from today's session. Not only the participants attending today, but also the viewers on YouTube. There's so much to take from this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye bye, all of you. Take care.
Bye.